I originally started becoming interested in electronics, and that spun into audio. My first speaker was actually a hull of a Pioneer speaker that I bought with my dad at a flea market, and there was nothing in it, but it was a really solid box, and we took it home, and I thought, wow, I should make that into a speaker. So that was my first one. I bought some driver units, I bought some inductors, I read about crossovers, and put this thing together. And, by today's standards, it sounded horrible, but it was my first speaker. So throughout my teenage years, I continued building speakers and amplifiers. It was just a hobby of mine. I really enjoyed music. I mean, that was the fundamental part of it. And I guess the first job in audio really was at a company called Custom Sound and Light Systems, and it was a rental company, and I was basically repairing amplifiers there and speakers, but more so the amplifiers, and I had a great time there. Did a lot of experimenting, and it was fairly expensive, so I started doing car stereo. And that was great because I actually made a little business out of it on the side, and I could fund my projects that way. And I continued doing that through high school and into university. I actually went to Ryerson here. Next job actually was repairing General Motors audio stereos, more so new stereos that were brought in for repair work. And as long as it was audio, I was interested in it, and I really enjoyed it. While I was going to Seneca College taking electronics, I noticed that there was a car audio manufacturer up the road by the name of Bacque Technologies. So I went and had a little chat with them. I was really into car audio at the time because I was installing it, and I wanted to work in a manufacturer facility or some engineering type of company that did this. And I spoke with John French. He chatted with me. I was still in school, so I didn't know a whole lot, but I guess he saw something in me, and he gave me a job. And while I was going to school, during my breaks and after school, I would spend time working at Bacque Technologies. And we were developing car audio amplifiers there, and I was in heaven. It was fantastic. And Blade actually had a sister company named Indigo Manufacturing. Now, Indigo, they were the OEM supplier for subwoofer amplifiers designed by Audio Products International. So Indigo, they expressed an interest in bringing out their own amplifiers because those amplifiers were designed by API. So at the time, the engineering group focus, it had changed over to subwoofer amplifiers. And they said, okay, well, let's take this Pash technology, which was originally in car audio amplifiers only, and let's apply it to a home audio amplifier. So we started developing home audio amplifiers for subwoofers specifically. And one of our first customers was Paul Barton, and that's when I first met Paul, and I worked with Paul in developing some of the subwoofer amplifiers for his products. So that continued along. I left Bacque Technologies, Indigo Manufacturing, and I started with Adamson Systems Engineering. And I did some subwoofer design for Adamson. I did some full-range design, and it was my first experience with something related to the NRC. I was using Peter Shook's program there. It was a program that he had written to basically calculate listening windows. We used it for calculating some crossovers, and that kind of opened the door a little bit. And I did a little more research, and I found out that there's this big body of work available that really is phenomenal in terms of understanding psychoacoustics and speaker design. So I wasn't there for too long. I talked to Paul Barton, and he was looking for somebody to join his team. So, we already knew each other, and we had a working relationship, so, I came on board, and wow, it was fantastic. Paul took me up to the NRC, and we spent, a lot of time there and got into designing speakers. I basically took over their entire subwoofer design, and I guess originally I started as a project manager / electronics designer. 3 years later, promoted to design team manager, and to this day, I'm still design team manager. I still design product, go up to the NRC with Paul, and basically manage our small design team and get the product out there that everyone wants.